Let's face it, Mother Nature has many reasons to want revenge on humans, but sometimes an individual animal takes on a more personal grudger. Today, we're going to look at 10 animals who choose violence and the people who paid the price, including a pack of dogs with road rage, an armed and dangerous rooster, and an octopus with attitude. Hold on tight, subscribe to the channel, and let's take a closer look at the 10 times animals took revenge on people. Number 10. Conga Don't. Of all the killer creatures residing in Australia, perhaps the kangaroo is the most underestimated of them all. After all, they don't have giant fangs or venom to get their point across. As an Australian man discovered, a lack of poison doesn't make these buff marsupials any less threatening. The man had come out of his home to find a kangaroo hanging around and digging holes in his yard, basically just doing kangaroo stuff. Unfortunately, the man didn't appreciate his landscape getting destroyed and began trying to scare off the kangaroo. Much to his dismay, the kangaroo was not the least bit scared and made no effort to get away. Instead of trying to flee, the kangaroo took the man's action as a challenge and gladly accepted. The kangaroo promptly hopped towards the man and proceeded to exact its revenge by violently punching him square in the face. Luckily for the internet, the entire thing was caught on camera and shared by the man's family. Perhaps the video will serve as a cautionary tale for those thinking about a showdown with the wild kangaroo. If you like this tale of kangaroo justice, stick around because our number 1 entry is much smaller, more angrier, and even more dangerous. Number 9. Going for back rub. Picture this. You're enjoying a pleasant afternoon nap when a stranger bursts into your room and starts kicking you. When you finally get up, the stranger lies down and makes themselves at home in your bed. Well, chances are you'd be looking to either run away or exact revenge. Well, the number 9 entry in the story of a dog who woke up and chose violence for all the right reasons. In 2015, a man in Chongqing, China arrived home one night to find a stray dog sleeping in his parking spot. Instead of honking his horn or simply shooing the dog, the man decided to start kicking it until it woke up and eventually fled. Though the dog had run away, it was anything but gone for good. Instead, it had left to gather up a few of its friends for a rather effective revenge plot. As the man laid in bed that night, a pack of wild dogs tore his car apart. The pack used their teeth to leave dents in the car's body and tear the front bumper completely off. Needless to say, the man figured he had been targeted by 2-legged vandals, but it wasn't until his neighbor shared security camera footage with him that he was fully able to understand what had taken place. Before we go on, like this video, pop the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell right now, or the ghost in your closet will manifest itself tonight. Number 8. Elephants never forget. Thunis Botha is a renowned name in the world of South African big game hunting. In recent years though, he is more famous for the way he died. Thunis was leading a group of hunters through Zimbabwe when the group stumbled upon a group of breeding elephants. Unfortunately, for Thunis, elephants aren't exactly dumb, and most in heavily hunted areas recognize human with a gun as a definitive threat. As soon as the elephants recognized the hunters' intentions, they charged the group. While Thunis tried to shoot at the incoming animals, he wasn't quick enough. A large female elephant picked him up with their trunk. Meanwhile, the other hunters shot at the elephants. Eventually, their bullets took a toll on the creature and she collapsed. This would have been wonderful news for Thunis, except that the 13,000-pound elephant landed directly on him. Number 7. Bird rage. Surprisingly not the only case of crow-based revenge on today's list, this story comes to us from Seattle, Washington, where researchers were trapping crows to study. Unfortunately, the crows caught on sooner than later and soon started to defend themselves and even exact revenge. Crows are easily among the smartest animals on the planet. They're known to use simple tools, solve complex problems, utilize common sense, recognize faces, and most importantly, hold grudges. While the Seattle researchers were trapping crows, the crows were taking notes. As soon as the crows saw the researchers coming, they would immediately start cawing in anger and dive bombing them, often in groups of 30 or more birds. Number 6. Bringing a knife to a cockfight. The highly illegal and brutal activity of cockfighting involves 2 participants training roosters to fight in brutal life and death brawls, while spectators gamble on the events. In order to give their birds a deadly advantage, owners will sometimes rig their rooster with weapons or protection. 45-year-old Thanogola Satish Gaud thought it would be a great idea to rig his rooster with a 3-inch blade on one foot. This way, when he struck an opponent, it would be a deadly blow. Unfortunately, his rooster had no interest in fighting. And before it could be placed in the ring, it viciously lashed out at Thangula, lacerating his groin. Thangula began gushing blood from a key artery and was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. Number 5. Earning your stripes. The following story has happened under almost identical circumstances with both a tiger and a leopard. In Kerala, India, organized crime can easily take one of two paths: poaching or moonshine. Surprisingly, the people in this next story had chosen moonshine distillation as their crime of choice. Moreover, even brewing moonshine required them to work deep in the forest to avoid detection by local authorities. In 2016, a moonshiner known only as Baby was hard at work in the forest when he came across a tigress and her cub. Rather than scare them off, Baby shot both of them dead after shooting them. Baby and his crew saw a male cat retreating, presumably the cub's father. When Baby returned 3 days later, the male too was waiting and viciously mauled him before dragging him into the trees. Some of Baby's crew eventually retrieved him, but he was dead long before reaching the hospital. Number 4. Attack cat. A woman named Max from a small town called Melvin in Michigan made the mistake of aggravating a cat and paid the price. Trying to do the right thing, Max had adopted the stray in order to give it a good home. Unfortunately, her new feline friend hated her dog with a passion. One day, tempers reached a boiling point and the cat viciously attacked Max's dog. Knowing that her pooch was in peril, Max kicked Snow at the cat. This caused it to turn its attention to Max. The cat lunged on her face, severely mauling her. Max was rushed to the hospital for treatment, while the deep wounds were enough to permanently change Max's face. She was also left with a massive infection that deformed her face and made for an incredibly long recovery time. The attack was captured on a neighbor's surveillance camera and uploaded to YouTube. Number 3. Hostile puss. There is one vital fact to know about octopi. It's that they are incredibly intelligent creatures capable of detailed reasoning. Most people have probably seen the famous octopus who opened a pickle jar during a study. Apart from being a great kitchen helper, they are also expert escape artists and can even hold grudges. And if that sounds crazy, just wait until you hear our next story. Truman was the name of an octopus that once resided at the New England Aquarium in Boston, Massachusetts. For some reason, Truman took a very specific disliking to a particular employee at the facility, a young woman who was an aquarium volunteer. It is unclear exactly what this person did to earn Truman's wrath, but every time she was close enough, Truman would pop out of the water and blast a jet of water at her. While this may seem like typical octopus behavior, she was the only person he would ever blast. Furthermore, when she returned to school for several months, Truman was perfectly behaved. However, the moment she returned, you guessed it, a water jet to the face, courtesy of the vengeful Truman. Number 2. Fox shots. A hunter in Belarus was out searching for his next kill when he spotted a fox in the distance. He lined up and took his shot after wounding the animal he approached. Likely to claim his kill, as he approached the creature, he was shocked to find the fox wasn't dead at all. It was injured but still alive. Wanting to complete the kill and end the fox's suffering, he was about to use the butt of the gun to finish it off. Before he got the chance, the fox leapt up and began fighting back against the hunter. The two of them with the gun in between began a fearsome battle. In the process, the fox's paw brushed the trigger, causing the gun to discharge, shooting the hunter in the leg. Ah, karma. In the ensuing panic, the fox was able to run away. Eventually, the man reached a hospital and was treated for his wounds. While this story may seem highly unlikely, it is a little more common than you'd think. Every decade, about 3 people are involved in shooting incidents that occur as a result of a cat or dog inadvertently pulling the trigger on a firearm. Number 1. An attempted murder of crows. Most people know that a group of crows is called a murder, but this terminology was taken on a slightly more sinister meaning for an Indian man named Shiva Kuat, who has recently found himself on the wrong side of several hundred crows. It all started when he found an injured baby crow near his house. Being a genuinely kind man, he picked up the young bird, hoping to save it. Unfortunately, despite his efforts, the tiny bird died in his hands. All the while, he had numerous other crows watching him, but little did he know he was at the center of a tragic misunderstanding. Crows are wildly intelligent birds that are known to recognize and remember faces. Unfortunately for Shiva, the crows had misinterpreted his attempts to rescue the baby and deemed him the cause of death. The results? Nearly 4 years of constant attacks. In fact, ever since his attempted rescue, he has been attacked nearly every single day that he's left his house. And now he has to do so carrying a large stick for protection against the persistent attacks, which are now part of his everyday life. That's all for 10 times animals took revenge on people. Which one was your favorite? Can you think of another case of an animal getting revenge? Let us know in the comments.